Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to Living the Dream with Curveball, a podcast where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by former NFL running back and peak performance mentor, Prince Daniels Jr. He is also an author of Mindfulness of the Ultimate Athlete. He has a master class, and he is the creator of Beyond the Game, helping athletes find their purpose and vision after the game. So, Prince, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Curtis. I really do appreciate this.
Why don't you start off by giving everybody a little bit of background about yourself?
All right. So my name is Prince Daniels Jr. I am a father, a husband, a son, mentor, a sibling, a former NFL player, a lifetime meditator. I've spent time in a monastery, so you can call me a monk if you would like. And I help people heal. I provide them a tool to help them become the best version of themselves and unlock their peak performance, so they can be able to perform when that moment of opportunity arises and they show up. And not only do they show up, they show out, and they understand about living life to its fullest.
So speaking of showing up and showing out, talk about your time in the NFL. Who did you play for, and when did you play, and what kind of achievements did you obtain while you were in the NFL?
Man, that's super awesome. My NFL career was pretty short-lived, and I got drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Really incredible organization, incredible team as well. And I had high hopes of really contributing. But my NFL career, I was accompanied by injuries. And so during that time, I didn't get a chance to contribute to the team as much as I would have liked. But the one thing that did stick out was my spirit. So I will say what I did contribute was that champion spirit, that spirit that always inspired others to continue to play to the very last minute. The game is never over unless you really believe that it's over. And there's nothing that's impossible unless you really believe it is. And so I like to say that I did have an impact on the organization because they still remember me as Mr. Inspiration himself. So those are my accolades that I would like to share with you on being with the Ravens. I was drafted in 2006, the 132nd pick. And I really had an amazing time because I met some amazing people, and it was an amazing experience.
Well, you're still being an asset to the team and athletes as well. Let's start off by talking about your Game Beyond the Game ecosystem and tell us about that and how that works for athletes.
Yeah, Game Beyond the Game is a business that I founded to help athletes find their purpose and their vision beyond the game. All athletes, just everybody in life, we all go through transition. And during that transition phase, there are a number of things that we take with us, and there are a number of things that we leave behind. And the things that we leave behind are very important that we remember to take with us on our journey, because we're all on this journey of life. And the Game Beyond the Game was an ecosystem. So that way, any athlete that experiences a tough breakup, because whenever you finish with any profession that you do, it's a relationship. And so after you're done with that relationship, sometimes it can be a good breakup or a bad breakup, depending on what side broke up with the other one first. And Game Beyond the Game prepares you for the transition after the game. It can prepare you for the transition going into the game, or the transition and while you're playing and you're thinking about, leaving the game. It's a platform that gives athletes access to understanding who they are, because money is important, but it's not that important if you don't have a sound mind to be able to accumulate it, spend it, and do the necessary things that you need to do to maintain the money in the way that you want to maintain it. So this platform, Game Beyond the Game, helps athletes understand who they are first and foremost, because we all go through a transition. We all experience a self-identity crisis, and we all go through a breakup in a relationship. So I would just say it's like more like therapy and more a community where all athletes can come together and we can discuss about the important things in life.
Well, how did you transition after your breakup with the game whenever you left the league? What are some of the things that you done to be able to make a successful transition?
Well, for me, it was a long road, man. Some of the things that I've done, luckily, because I went through a self-identity crisis where I was just pretty much lost and attempted suicide, to commit suicide and suicidal ideation. And what saved me was meditation, and which is the number one tool that I use for every single individual that I work with, whether that's elite athletes, high achievers, or kids, through my foundation. I teach everyone about the power of meditation and mindfulness. Breath work also helped me as well, and just raising my awareness for my emotional intelligence and being able to remind people that you can control what you can control, but anything that's outside of you, don't try to control it, because when you try to, it controls you. And once I understood these principles, I started to apply them, and I started to see how they created a paradigm shift within my life. And I knew right away that this was a formula for others that will actually follow in those footsteps. They have some type of remedy, some type of ecosystem, because I don't like to call it a program, but more like an ecosystem to help them being able to have a smoother transition into life, and just understanding and knowing what they want to do in life, having a purpose and a vision, and being able to align themselves with that purpose and vision.
Well, let's talk about your book, Mindfulness of an Ultimate Athlete. Tell us about that book and what we can expect when we read it.
Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, Mastering the Balance Between Power and Peace. So after being in the NFL, I spent time at a monastery, and I needed to spend time at the monastery because I needed to rehabilitate myself from the inside out. Because as I mentioned, I had a self-identity crisis, and I identified myself as a professional athlete first before I even said my name. And after the game was over, you have to say your name first. But I think we all become a former athletes. If you don't do as well as you wanted to, if your dreams didn't pan out in the way that you wanted them to, you are a little embarrassed. So I had to come to terms with that. So I decided to write a book about the power of mindfulness and meditation, and how easy it is, and lift the stigma. And my book breaks things down from the body, the mind, the spiritual, and the zone perspective. When you're able to align these three components, body, mind, and spirit, that is the recipe to be able to be in the zone and to operate from that space. I've been able to reach the zone while playing, and I've been able to reach the zone while I was at the monastery. And so I merged the two, so that now athletes, which I say that we are all athletes in this game of life, can use this book as a tool to help you start practicing mindfulness and meditation today and reap the benefits as soon as possible. The minute you start putting the work in, it helps you elevate your mind. It helps you elevate your body. and your spirit so that you can be the best version of yourself. So this book helps you get through anything that you have going on in life and help you overcome, a lot of the obstacles that we're faced with.
So, for those who don't know, tell them what a monastery is. Explain what that is.
So a monastery, I believe a lot of people are familiar with a monastery when it comes to like Tibetan monks, Asians that go spend time in the mountains and they sit down and they contemplate. They do a long contemplation about life, about themselves, about who they are, their purpose on this planet. And it's a community where like spirited, like minded individuals go to understand the answer to life, understand the principles of life, and want to go into more depth of what is this life about and why are they here. So I went to a monastery where it's quiet, it's no talking, no cell phones, and lots of reading and lots of meditation and helping out with work, whether that's agriculture, whether that's helping with building things, chopping wood, some of the things that you do in nature. And it's just relearning how to live as a human being and understand how to live as a spiritual being as well, and go beyond, the limitations that are placed upon us each and every day and the oppression.
Well, let's talk about the masterclass that you've created. Tell us about the Unlocking Your Peak Performance Masterclass.
Yeah, my 6-week masterclass, Unlock Your Peak Performance, is a masterclass that I created that's based upon my book, Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete. Through each section of the course, we go through a different section where we discuss about, people's bodies, people's minds, people's spirit, and we help you identify what are your, pain points in your life that you are experiencing, and we help you figure those out. My team and I, we've pretty much studied brain science, in a way that understands cognitive function, in a way that understands emotional processing and vibration, and then the balance of positive and negative emotions and how important it is to process it through so that you can utilize the energy of emotions to take action. It helps you create the emotions so that you can build the momentum over the next 6 weeks, to keep growing and building. And you're able to take that same emotional power, which is your emotions, energy and motion, and it helps you to keep creating other results in your life after you finish taking the master class. So I basically help people create independence and not dependency, and my goal is to make sure that you succeed and experience the breakthrough that you've been searching for. And the 6-week masterclass, it does it all. I start with the body, I start with the mind, the spirit, and we talk about people's emotional risk taking, and we share with them the science. And the process is pretty much the same with elite athletes and high achievers. I basically tell people, bring me all your problems that you're facing. And then I show them what is going on in their mind, in their brain. And then I show them their debilitating thoughts in their mind that they're creating through their current situation. And I help them change the way that they think and feel to do what they want to do in life.
Do you have any projects that you're working on, upcoming projects that anybody need to know about?
My upcoming projects that I'm working on, or my foundation, which is 4lbufoundation.org, the number 4, the letter LBU. And we teaching financial literacy and mindfulness to the youth and the underserved. And we are really growing now and receiving a lot of donations. And we would love to receive more, but we are speaking to the kids about financial literacy and about mindfulness, which I feel are the two tools that we need to survive in this world. And eventually, we plan on partnering with a nonprofit or a charity that specializes in food and feeding the hunger, because we understand without food in your body, there's nothing else that you can really do. It's hard for you to think. It's hard for you to even consider, learning anything. So that's one of the biggest projects that I'm focused on as well, and just making sure that I stay hyper focused on all the things that I have on my plate. Plus that.
Well, how can we connect with you? How can people purchase your book, give out your social media links where people can connect with you and keep up with everything that you're doing?
Most definitely. People can check me out at my website at princedanielsjr.com. That's Prince, DANIELSJR.com. And you can find most of my social media handles on there. But if you want to find me quickly on Instagram, you can go to Prince ADJR. And same thing for Twitter. And on LinkedIn, I'm at Prince Daniels Jr. Yeah, I think I went on Clubhouse. I'm at Prince ADJR as well. I have a YouTube channel and I have a podcast. The podcast is called The Prince Daniels Jr. Show, and YouTube channel is at Prince ADJR as well. So I have a lot of content, speaking about mindfulness and meditation and inspirational things to make sure that I use my internal spirit to inspire your spirit. So you can always find me on my Instagram page as well, probably doing some dance moves or teaching you about meditation, all of the above, because just because I practice meditation and I spend time in a monastery doesn't mean that I'm looking to be holier than thou. Meditation, the practice of meditation just makes you whole. And in your wholeness, you find peace.
You have any final thoughts before we close out?
My final thoughts is practice meditation if you never practiced it before. Meditation is not a religion. It's not a religion substitution. It's not a religion doctrine. It has nothing to do with religion. It's not a lifestyle change. It's a practice. It's a tool that allows you to access a high level of focus, awareness, concentration, compassion, kindness, love, all of the above. And this exists all over the world in every single human being at all times. So if there's something that you're going through and you don't know how to go beyond it, you don't know how to get through it, you need to sit down and spend a little time with yourself. Because just like whenever you're going in an airplane, before you get into the airplane, you're on ground level and everything that you see is big. Everything that even the airport is big. But the minute that you take off in the air and you look at the airport from 30,000 feet above ground, the airport doesn't seem as big. And the same thing goes for our problems. The same thing goes for anything that we go through in life. And so just understand that whenever you close your eyes and you turn your attention within yourself, you go up. And when you go up, you change your perception about how you view things in life. So I share that gem with you because I want everybody to understand that once you start practicing mindfulness and meditation, you tap into your superpower. And that's the light that's inside of you. That old saying, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You allow for the light to shine, but you have to look within yourself to find that light. So that was my last words that I want to share with everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, PrinceDanielsJr.com. Make sure you check out his website and check out everything he's doing and pick up the book. Prince, thank you so much for joining me today.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Curtis.
And listeners, please be sure to follow, rate, review, and share after listening. And if you're an Android user, go to the Google Play Store, download the Living the Dream with Curveball app. Just type in Living the Dream with Curveball. Until next time, keep living the dream. For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living